Now the topic before us is legal tender, meaning, acceptance, resistance and evolution. Suppose this is tea time and I want to have some snacks. I go to McDonald's and order one burger. After eating burger, I have to make the payment, or before purchasing it, I may have to make the payment. I pick up wallet from my pocket and give the physical notes or the coins at the cash counter. Now, these currency notes or the coins which we use to make the payment for the purchase of goods and services are legal tender. Why the seller accepts the same? Because these currency notes or the coins have been issued by the central bank of the country or by the government treasury. These currency notes or the coins have been declared by the government to be legally acceptable by all the persons in the relevant country as a medium of exchange in return of goods and services. That is, if I sell something and the other person gives me the currency notes or the coins issued by the central bank or the treasury of the government, I am bound to accept the same in exchange of goods and services. I cannot refuse the same. This is the legal tender. Now we will have specific meaning of legal tender. You can see in the picture, these are the currency notes which are used in India. These are the currency notes which are used in USA, and these are the other currencies which are used in other countries. So these coins or the currency notes which are used in the respective country and have been issued by the central bank of that country or by the government treasury are called legal tender. Legal tender refers to the currency or money that is officially recognized and approved by the government and as a valid and compulsory medium of exchange for settling debts, obligations, and various transactions. It means that you may have taken loan from some organization, or you want to purchase some goods, or you want to avail some services, and in return for that you can make the payment through these currency notes or the coins which are legal tender. Legal tender is a form of money which cannot be refused by any citizen of that country for the settlement of any kind of transaction. It means that suppose you are living in USA and after purchasing the burger, if you want to make the payment through Indian rupee or the Indian coins, the seller will not accept the same, because in USA this currency is not legal tender. If you are in USA, you will have to make the payment in dollars or the coins which have been approved or issued by the Central Bank of USA, that is the Federal Reserve, or the government treasury. Legal tender Typically means generally. Legal tender generally includes bank notes and coins that are issued by central bank or treasury. When a currency is designated as legal tender, it means that individuals and businesses of the country cannot refuse to accept that currency to settle debts and as payment for goods and services. That is, when, say, a particular currency note has been declared as legal tender, the residents of that country or the businesses of that country cannot refuse to accept the same as in return of any goods or services. If any business or individual refuses to accept the legal tender as a medium of payment, it is punishable by the state. In other words, no person can refuse to accept the legal tender in the jurisdiction of that country where that currency has been declared as legal tender. However, it is too important to note that acceptance of legal tender does not imply that a particular form of money has intrinsic value. What it means? We have seen these currency notes or dollars, whether they have any intrinsic value. No. If the government of the country decides that henceforth a particular type of currency note will not be regarded as legal tender, it does not have any value. Otherwise, also, these currency notes and coins do not have intrinsic value. If we have the coins, say, of gold or silver coins, they have intrinsic value because they are made of some precious metals which can be sold in the market in return of goods and services. But these currency notes do not have any value for which they can be exchanged. These currency notes or the coins have the value only because these are backed by the government of the country. In most modern economies, legal tender currency is fiat money. We have already discussed in detail fiat money. Fiat money means currency notes, coins, and the digital form of currency. Now the question is, which government authority determines what is considered legal tender? Generally, a country's central bank or monetary authority has the authority to declare what forms of currency are considered legal tender. That is, it is ultimately the central bank or the monetary authority of the country which decides what form of currency is legal tender. Next is, can businesses refuse legal tender payment, or are there any limitations on the use of legal tender in transactions? Answer is, in some countries there may be some restrictions on the use of large quantity of coins for a single transaction. What it means? In India, we have 1 rupee coin or 50 paise coins or the coins of lower denomination also. So suppose I want to purchase a car or I want to purchase a television. Suppose the cost of a car is, say, 5 lakh rupees, or the cost of a television is, say, 50,000 rupees. Whether I will give the payment of the car in the shape of coins. That is, whether the seller will accept 5 lakh coins of 1 rupee denomination, or the seller of a television, that is the television dealer, will accept 50,000 coins of 1 rupee denomination. No, it is not as per the rules, because the government of India has decided that, already declared that, the coins can be accepted by the seller, or the coins can be used for the purpose of transactions only in a limited quantity. Because if I purchase a car and give 5 lakhs in coins, the whole implies, the all the implies of the seller or the dealer will become busy in counting that coins. So in certain countries there are restrictions on the use of coins of smaller denomination. So the seller can refuse to accept the smaller denomination coins, although the coins are legal tender, but the coins of lower denomination can be refused. For example, in India, 1 rupee coin can be used to pay for items up to 1000 rupees. It is as per the rules framed by the central bank or the government of India. And 50 paisa coins can be used to pay for items up to rupees 10. Next, can legal tender status change over time? What it means? First, we will understand the question. These are the currency notes which are used for the purpose of, as a medium of exchange, for buying goods and services, or to make the payment of debts. We use it. We use all these coins or currency notes. If the government in a particular country decides that from a particular date the particular currency note will not be will not remain as legal tender, that is, from a particular date the particular type of currency note will not remain valid for the purpose of transactions, then that particular currency note will have zero value from that particular date. Because any particular currency note has its value in the market only because the government has declared that it carries certain value. The government or the central bank has printed on each currency note the value of the same. For example, 10 rupee note in India has the value of 10 rupee, 100 rupee note in India has the value of 100 rupee, and a person can buy the goods up to rupees 100 with that currency note. If we have, if we are living in USA and we have $100 with us, then we can purchase the items up to $100 with that particular currency note. So in certain governments may demonetize or withdraw legal tender status from certain currency denominations. This is generally done to curb black money and combat with counterfeit currency. Counterfeit means fake currency. Sometimes the government thinks that there is a lot of black money in the country and the government wants to extract the same, to remove the same from the economy, or a particular currency note may be fake, which has been printed by criminal minded people, there is large supply of fake currency of a particular denomination, then the government may decide to withdraw the legal status from that particular currency note. We have an example of it in our history so far as India is concerned. In November 2016, Indian government demonetized rupees 500 and rupees 1000 banknotes. It means that in November 2016, Indian government withdrew the legal tender status which it had accorded to 500 rupee currency note and currency note of 1000 denomination. The government provided a window to the people to deposit or exchange their old 500 and 1000 Indian rupee in banks and get new 500 rupee and 2000 bank notes from the banks in exchange. By withdrawing the legal tender status from these currency notes, the value of those currency notes which were used at that time became zero from a particular date. That is, no person in the country will accepted the same after a particular time, after a particular date, for the purpose of exchange of goods and services or for the purpose of paying off debts. So the government of the country has the authority to change the legal tender status which it has accorded to a particular currency note. Now the question is, what is the meaning of currency? Currency means coins or currency notes, both or none of the above. Currency means both. The answer is third, both 1 and 2. Now the topic before us is a comprehensive look at two types of legal tender. We are living in India. Here you have before us, this is the picture of a jewelry showroom and this is the picture of car showroom. Suppose you visit the jewelry showroom to buy some jewelry and suppose you purchase jewelry worth rupees 1 lakh, or you purchase a particular model of car, say for rupees 15 lakhs. Now you have to make the payment. Whether the jewelry shopkeeper or the seller of jewelry will accept the payment in coins, or you can purchase the car by making the payment of 15 lakhs in coins. If so, it may be possible that the car dealer may have to spend many days in counting the coins which it had obtained from you in return of the selling of the car. So in India, to avoid such type of situation, there is concept of limited legal tender. Limited legal tender. What is the meaning of limited legal tender? In India, the currency notes and the coins have been declared as legal tender. That is, you can purchase goods and services with the help of currency notes and coins which have been printed or minted by the government authorities. You can go to the market to purchase items, or in return of services you can make the payment in coins and in currency notes. This is the meaning of legal tender. But here, you in India, you cannot make unlimited payment by the way of coins, because it will create a lot of problem for the sellers and the businessmen. So now we will understand what is the meaning of limited legal tender. First, what is the meaning of legal tender? Legal tender refers to a form of money that a government has declared to be valid for transactions and settling debts within its jurisdiction. It means that legal tender means the money which the government has declared that you can use that currency notes or the coins for settling your debts and for the purpose of purchase of goods or in exchange of availing of services. But when the word limited is used before legal tender, it means that there are certain restrictions on the use of legal tender. Legal tender means on a particular type of currency. There are certain restrictions on the use of particular type of currency, which may be a particular currency note of smaller denomination or a particular coins. There may be certain restrictions. Now we understand the meaning of limited legal tender. Limited legal tender refers to a specific coin or banknote which is accepted as a legal tender up to a certain amount. It means that though the coins or the currency notes are legal tender, say within India, but they there are certain coins or the specific coins or the banknotes which can be used up to a certain amount only. Beyond this limit, a person may refuse to accept the tender. Suppose you have to arrange a birthday party. You go to McDonald's where you ask for burgers and Coca-Cola to be served to all your friends, and suppose the bill of the same comes to rupees 5,000. Whether McDonald will accept all the payment in coins of say rupees 1 of the coins of 50 paisa denomination? No, they will not accept the same, all the payment in coins, because these are limited legal tenders. Up to a certain limit, up to a certain amount, these coins are acceptable by the shopkeeper or sellers or the persons or any individual. These are acceptable up to a certain amount which has been prescribed by the government or central bank. Up to a certain amount these are acceptable, but beyond that limit you cannot force the seller or any individual to accept these coins, and no legal action can be taken against them. We have already read that when there is a particular currency has been declared as legal tender, you cannot refuse to accept the same. But in case of certain coins or certain currency notes, they may have been classified as limited legal tender, and beyond a certain amount you cannot force any person to accept the same. Beyond that limit, other forms of payment may be required. That is, beyond that limit, you may have to make the payment by currency notes of higher value denomination or through internet banking. For example, coins are limited legal tender in India. In India, 1 rupee coin and 50 paisa coins are, these are limited legal tender. That is, legal tender in limited quantities. 1 rupee coin can be used in India to pay for items up to 1000 rupees, and 50 paisa coins can be used to pay for items up to rupees 10 in India. These coins are not legal tender in other countries. These types of coins or the currency notes are legal tender only within the jurisdiction of that government which has issued the particular currency notes or the coins. For example, we cannot, if we are living in India and we are having currency notes in rupee, and if we go to USA, we cannot force a seller in USA to accept the same, because these coins or the currency notes which are in rupee are not legal tender in that country. Now, why limited legal tender? It is very difficult to carry and count the coins in large quantities. Further, it is also to prevent businesses from being forced to accept large amounts of low denomination coins. It may be possible that you are having some sort of enmity with a particular shopkeeper, and you go to that shopkeeper and purchase goods worth thousands of rupees from him, and in exchange you give him these coins. So to avoid such type of scenario, the government of India or the central bank has classified these coins as limited legal tender. That is, beyond a certain amount, these coins will not remain legal tender, and the seller may refuse to accept the same above a particular limit. These are acceptable up to particular limit. These coins will remain legal tender up to a certain amount. The limitations on legal tender are usually specified by the government or central bank that issues the currency. Next is unlimited legal tender. We have learnt that legal tender is of two types: limited legal tender and unlimited legal tender. Limited legal tender we have already read. Now we will read unlimited legal tender. Here we have before us currency notes of different denominations which are used in India. There are other currency notes also in India. Here we are just giving the example of a few currency notes which are used in India, and these are unlimited legal tender. That it, in other words, we can say that we can use these currency notes to make the payment for goods, or we can avail the services of other persons and make the payment in these currency notes. Under this, money has to be accepted as a medium of exchange up to any amount. There is no restriction that these currency notes can be accepted up to a certain limit only. It can be paid in discharge of a debt of any amount. You may be having debt of say rupees 10 lakhs, you can make the payment by the way of these currency notes. A person who refuses to accept this money may face legal action. In India, paper notes and currency are unlimited legal tender. We are talking about the legal tender status in India. Banknotes are unlimited legal tender, and the coins are limited legal tender in India. That is, by use of the coins, you, with the help of coins, you can make purchase up to a certain amount only, and the shopkeeper or the seller may refuse to accept the coins after a particular limit. Up to a certain amount these coins will be acceptable. Now the question is, why banknotes are unlimited legal tender? It is because these are more easily transportable. If we have coins before us and we want to make the payment, it will become very bulky and it will become very difficult for us to transport it from one place to another to make the payment. But if we have with us, say, 500 rupee banknote or the currency notes of 200 rupee or 100 rupee, it is quite easy for us to count the same as well as to transport the same from one place to another. Further, they are less prone to counterfeiting than coins. Generally, banknotes have more sophisticated security features. If you go through any currency note which has been used by you, irrespective of the country in which you are residing, you will find that the currency notes have many security features. It is not that you may use any type of paper and do colored photostat of the same. No, it will not serve the purpose. There are many security features in the currency notes, such as holographic strips, micro printing, color shifting inks, erased printing, and much more, which makes it very challenging to counterfeit notes compared to coins. It means that coins can be easily made counterfeit. That is, it is possible that there may be fake coins, but it is very difficult because the paper used in making the banknotes is available in only very few countries, and the government or the central bank may have to import it from that few countries, because a particular type of paper or very superior quality paper is used in printing of the currency notes. Now the question is, in India, currency notes are limited legal tender or unlimited legal tender? We have already read that the coins are limited legal tender, whereas the currency notes are unlimited legal tender. That is, with the help of currency notes, we can make purchases or we can avail services up to any amount. So the answer is unlimited legal tender. Thanks for watching. If you like our course, please spare some time to give a star rating to our course.